Ooh man, Everdark Balancers. Boy, is this a tough fight. To prepare for this, we did the Volcano event, which got us a gold weapon. I was eating every bolus that was on the floor that resisted bleed. Big shield, just everything in my kit that I could do to just survive. The name of the game for this fight is basically an endurance match. I'm using my warming stones in the early phase to save some Estus. We did get 8 Estus, and I needed every last drop in this fight, which is the advantage of doing the volcano. Your goal in this fight, and I know it's intuitive, is just don't take damage. I mean, when these enemies like to surround you, you want to back up to the wall, you want them all in front of you, they like to teleport behind you. Just try and keep them in front of you and watch your corners, and your teammates, hopefully you have to have enough wherewithal to kind of watch your corners too. My starting weapon is a bleed bow, and my executor was also doing bleed, and even though I know that as you bleed these enemies, their resistances stack, and they also have pretty high bleed resistance from what I can tell, between the two of us, this executor and I were able to get quite a few bleed procs, which did aid in the battle. And here is phase 2, and man are these things creepy. My items that I had for this fight was just a ton of damage negation stacked. I had damage negation at full HP, I had damage negation from taking hits, which I personally think was one of the best things I picked up because they do a lot of combos, but they don't really hit hard like one big hit. So if you have any kind of damage resistance upon taking damage, it actually goes a long way. These enemies are vicious, and the key to winning this fight is actually to be just as vicious back. They have huge AoE attacks, each one of them might as well be their own boss, but they are able to stagger. And especially with Iron Eye's Mark being able to pop, just that one thing, it can stop a whole combo and save you an Estus. As you can see, my teammates did go down, and now I'm kind of pushing against the clock because I have all of, well, not Heaven's army this time, probably the other side chasing me. My point here is going to be to build ult charge. That's really the only way I'm going to get these reses off, because there's no way I'm going to stand in the middle of the arena and pick them up. The grab attacks they do are insane. They will reach you. It doesn't matter if you're running full sprint. You are in range. I have been grabbed by these things, and it does about half your health. But either way, it is not a fair grab, to say the least. This next phase, phase 2, phase 3, I don't know what to call it. It's the corrupted Erdtree spirit, but I'm just going to call it a whale, because it's a whale. And it does AoE attacks, and it just drops tons of damage. You can't really get close to it because it'll one-shot you just by falling on you. And you can't block it, you can't jump it. You just want to get as far away as you can from it, and as you can see, he can go from one side of the arena to the other, no problem. All of these attacks are jumpable for the most part with him, but it is still a miserable experience. My advice is just pick an edge of the map and sit there. Those shockwaves are jumpable, but this is my first time really fighting it, so I'm not quite familiar with the timing yet. This part right here is the final stage of the phase. I'm trying to get some damage in with my golden rain of arrows, but it does constant damage over time, and then it bleed procs you, and I got lost in the sauce and go down here. Big res from my teammate, and now we're in the middle of it all. I try and back up and get some space and switch to my main bow because that other one is just too heavy and too slow. Every time they scream, they res one of their fallen, so unlike the basic Balancers fight, there's really no picking them off and getting them down to one by one. It's always a cluster. You're always getting jumped. My recommendation is just to back and back and back. These enemies have a lot of roll catches. You see that thrust attack the second one did, not the one that's jumping, but they'll do a thrust, and if you roll backwards, you'll still get caught with the second half of their thrust. My advice is to either roll into it or dodge to the left or right, but I know it's kind of hard. There's a lot of stuff on the screen, and rolling into the enemy may still be disaster because another one may follow up behind it. The health bar in this fight is rather intimidating. They heal, they revive each other, and it just doesn't feel like you're doing a lot of damage. But trust me, just taking down these guys is the best way to beat the boss, and it starts getting some momentum towards the end, which is typical of the original Balancers fight too. I feel like characters like Iron Eye and Wilder are very strong in this fight because of their mobility and their just ability to escape combo attacks. The Executor is really strong because he has a very good parry, which these guys, I've heard in other videos, are severely allergic to. They also have a slight weakness to blunt, so Raider and Undertaker do have a slight advantage in these fights, and with Raider's poise attack where he can stomp and then retaliate, I think there is some advantages to that. I've seen some Guardians. I feel like Scholar and Recluse might struggle here, but if you get a less likely to be targeted, maybe you can get your castings off. Again though, that would be really RNG dependent on what you find in the run. Here I'm saying that though, it was pretty RNG dependent of me getting a negate damage at full HP, followed up by a negate damage after taking damage. My jumps here were a little delayed, but it was still quite forgiving. Iron Eye's dash definitely came in clutch here, and that's why I usually run two on my character. One to mark and one to get out. The most frustrating part of this fight is every time we get into the Erdtree avatar state, you are going to have a phase where you lose health. You're going to bleed out, you're going to get chip damage, it's going to take some Estus, so prepare to lose 2 or 3 just in the fight. I was even fighting Moog before this, and I got the Crystal Tier to negate blood, and I was hoping it would activate in this fight. It does not, so that was debunked. Ideally, you'd like to get them in a 2v1 situation, like this Executor and I do. We tend to focus down one target. If you do happen to have a tank on the team, you let it take aggro, and then you have your DPS kind of pick them off as they res. So one person's going to hold the aggro of the obnoxious one, and then every time they get up, I'm going to jump on them immediately and try and get the stagger so we can dogpile them. It's all about keeping your momentum faster than they keep their momentum. Also, it kind of goes without saying, get a shield. Even if you have to buy the one at the merchant shop, make sure that you don't finish the night without a shield. It is a very close quarters fight. They are going to be up in your face, and you're not going to be able to just panic roll through it. I'm a little bit suspicious of that one, Formsoft. He was definitely dead in the air because he died the moment he hit the ground and no one else was shooting at him. But apparently just because they're dead doesn't mean they can't get their attack off. It is insane, the wailing barrage that these enemies do. I know it's not fun, but if you go down a lot, or if you have a teammate that goes down a lot, like our teammate here that's at 3 bars for the second half of this fight, don't try and res them. You can't turn your back to these enemies, and you can't stop fighting them for a moment. If you want to get the res off, the best time is in between phase changes. So if we were closer to my other teammate, when the Erdtree avatar came out, we could have started to try and res him. But it's really all about timing. If you have all these barrage going on, you're probably not going to get the resurrection off. I am completely out of Estus here, and I'm trying to play very cautious. However, the boss is focusing me, and you can't block it, you can't jump it. I'm just trying to survive. I get pushed into a wall, and I'm down to a bare minimum of my health. It seems grim. It seems like I'm not going to be able to make it because he is going to do some damage over time, and I don't have the health to get through it. But what ends up saving me is my teammate dropped a warming stone, and somehow, with 1 HP in a dream, I do make it through and hold my ground. If you do happen to get the roll with the perfumer arts that give this, it's an up attack and a free hit, and it does come in clutch in this. I recommend your whole team picking them up. It's about 8,000 souls for 2, so if everybody grabs some, you can sit there and basically negate 6 hits for the whole team. This fight took literally everything I had. Level 15, 8 Estus, every single item in the bank, most of my FP. I mean, it really came down to the wire. And I felt like I played pretty well. I think I only went down once in the beginning when I got greedy. But it is a tough fight. You really need to play perfectly, almost. A quick celebration for the victory. And if you stay tuned, I'll showcase the rewards in the medallion. The Everdark Balancer medallion does the same thing as the classic medallion, except instead of FP restoration, when you have damage negation lowered, you can occasionally not take a hit. Thanks so much for watching. I hope this helped. Please like and subscribe and leave a comment if it did help you, and I'll see you in the next video.